UFC is home to some of the most epic moments in fighting history. But over the years, there have also been moments that are downright embarrassing, like when Justine Kish had an accident in the octagon. It was a battle for the ages at UFC Fight Night 112, as Justine Kish fought off a choke from Felice Herrig. But during the fight, disaster struck, and a not-so-pretty moment was captured for the world to see. The octagon was left with a visible reminder of the intensity of the fight, and let's just say, what followed was something that no one is going to forget anytime soon. She accidentally pooped herself during her fight. Most people would just run away from a nightmare situation like this, but not Kish. Her sense of sportsmanship kept her in the octagon until the decision was made, even though every second felt like an eternity. When the moment finally arrived, she looked down in horror, ashamed of what had happened, and made her way out of the octagon. Despite the embarrassment and shame, Kish showed her strength and resilience by taking the situation in stride. She even cracked a joke on social media. It's moments like these that prove that fighters are more than just their physical strength. They have true grit and character. She said that she is a warrior, and that stuff like this does happen. But I guess this time it was literal. Not all bets are good bets though. Some can even land you in serious trouble.
You gotta dodge the crazy punch. Oh my gosh! That's it! Laid him out! Another opponent!
Like when Dennis Hallman's outfit malfunctioned at UFC 133. He made a splash in the octagon with a daring fashion statement. But this wasn't just any ordinary outfit choice. It was a tiny pair of blue Speedos that left everyone talking. And here's the best part. It was all due to a bet. Hallman, never one to shy away from a challenge, admitted to losing a bet to some unidentified individuals. He wouldn't spill the beans on the bet specifics, but I'm pretty sure it involved a dare and a whole lot of courage. The tiny blue Speedos not only cost Hallman potential sponsors, but a grappling exchange during the fight resulted in a wardrobe malfunction. Even though I feel uncomfortable saying this, he exposed his testicles on live TV. The sight was too much for Dana White, who was horrified and disgusted by what he saw. In a swift move to prevent a repeat performance, he banned the use of such attire in the future. It's a cautionary tale of what can happen when one takes risks in the octagon. Hallman's misadventure serves as a reminder to always think twice before making a bold fashion statement, and to remember the potential consequences that come with it. But that's not the only thing that can land you in trouble. Sometimes celebrating early can as well, like what happened with Rosamar Palhares. In the heat of the moment, anything can happen, and at UFC 134, Rosamar Palhares learned that the hard way. With a dominant performance against Dan Miller, Palhares was filled with excitement, raising his hands and jumping on the octagon cage in triumph. But the celebration was cut short, as referee Herb Dean had to remind Palhares that the fight wasn't over yet. It was a moment of embarrassment for Palhares, as he sheepishly got back down and resumed the fight. Though Miller did make a comeback, Palhares ultimately took the win by decision. This serves as a lesson for all fighters to stay focused until the final bell rings. Palhares' premature celebration not only shamed him, but also showed the importance of discipline in the octagon. Next up, this player's cover-up was very suspicious. I'm talking about Chuck Liddell's interview. Liddell, a legendary UFC fighter, was once known for his hard-hitting ways and wild lifestyle, but that reputation took a hit on a notorious TV appearance on Good Morning Texas in 2007. That's when Liddell stumbled through an interview in a state of apparent intoxication. The show's host expressed concern for Chuck's well-being as he slurred his words and even appeared to doze off. A once proud moment for both Liddell and the UFC quickly turned into a mortifying embarrassment. Chuck later attributed his behavior to sleep medication, but the damage was done. The UFC had to intervene and pull him from further promotional interviews, avoiding any more PR nightmares. Next, you shouldn't fight if your gut's not right. Tim Sylvia had to learn that the hard way. The fight between Alcerio Silva and Tim Sylvia took a shocking turn, as Silva's attempts to pull guard caused Sylvia's shorts to fall. This exposed a dark stain that raised some serious questions. Could it be? Had the maniac actually soiled himself in the middle of the fight? Sadly, the speculation was confirmed, leaving fans stunned, and Sylvia feeling the shame of this unforgettable moment in the octagon. Speaking of unforgettable moments, it's hard not to remember this dual KO. Yup, I'm talking about Gray Maynard's comic knockout. He had a plan for his fight against Rob Emerson at the TUF UF5 finale. He wanted to deliver a powerful knockout that would have fans talking for years to come. And that's exactly what he did. With a mighty heave, he lifted Emerson off the ground and brought him crashing back down to earth, leaving him out cold. But in a twist worthy of a sitcom, Maynard forgot to land on his own feet and face-planted onto the mat, sending himself to dreamland too. As the referee declared the fight a no contest, a confused Maynard rose to his feet, protesting that he wasn't actually out. Little did he know, he was living proof that sometimes it's the delivery man who gets the knockout punch. Joe Rogan played the replay over and over during the post-fight interview.
And a left hook by Gray. You could hear that one in a big slam. Huge. Oh, he's right in the body again.
But Gray still denied being knocked out. But the footage told the truth. Gray was dazed and confused, rolling off Emerson, eyes rolling into the back of his head, and finally trying to stand but falling back down. Classic Maynard. Still, it's nothing compared to this next embarrassing moment. This next fight will forever be remembered as the time the running man took flight. That's right.
Jab early. Oh! Knocked down for Oliveira now. Now a knee to the body for Charles.
I'm talking about Caleb Starnes versus Nate Quarry. This classic bout was filled with a one-sided game of cat and mouse, with Starnes, aka the elusive running man, continuously backing away from the action. As the fight progressed, the audience couldn't help but laugh as the always entertaining Nate Quarry added to the absurdity by mimicking Starnes' elusive moves. This was a fight where strikes were as scarce as unicorns, and the action was about as exciting as watching paint dry. But the real highlight of this cringe-worthy performance was after the fight. That's when Caleb Starnes became known to the world as the Running Man and was promptly sent packing from the UFC. And finally, it's this iconic moment that most fans will likely remember: the time when Anderson Silva fell from glory. Silva was at the peak of his powers when he faced Chris Weidman, holding 10 successful title defenses and had never been defeated in the UFC. Interestingly, he was also regarded by some as the greatest MMA fighter of all time. The more he dominated, the more confident, some might say cocky, he became. This confidence led to some unforgettable moments in the octagon. That's where he would drop his hands, dare opponents to hit him, and still dodge the punches, leaving commentator Joe Rogan to exclaim, "Silva's moving inside the Matrix." But all good things must come to an end, and Anderson Silva's reign was no exception. Chris Weidman showed no mercy and took full advantage of Silva's overconfidence. The champion dropped his guard, taunting Weidman with mock jabs, but it only fueled the challenger's determination. Weidman kept swinging until he finally connected, sending Silva to the canvas in a shocking KO loss. Anyway, which of these embarrassing moments from UFC did you find the most cringe-worthy? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.